if you think about the AJ Smith and Marty Schottenheimer era,
yeah,
they basically were like, they never even talked to each other. And they didn't even communicate at all.
Yeah, they didn't
for years.
Yeah, they didn't like each other. They hated each other. Yeah,
like, but you know, Staley's taking the opposite approach, right? Where he's bringing everybody in together and going from there. So
another episode of Bolt Bros. Ooh,
Bolt Bros.
All right, guys, I want to talk a little bit about the locker room speeches. I don't know if anybody really saw those, but I watched them after every game.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Staley is such a leader, right? We joke always about this, that the Church of Brandon Staley.
That's right.
Pass around the tray. I'll throw some money in there. Because I mean, he's inspiring, right? But the thing that I you know, again, we got the link in the description below, right? You guys should all take a look at these locker room speeches that Brandon Staley did last year. They inspired me, and I got goosebumps. But the one thing I always want to bring up is that there's a couple things. Telesco's always there, and the Spanoses are always there. And I was always kind of under the impression the Spanoses weren't really, you know, involved. But the one thing that I think I can see Brandon Staley doing very well is involving the entire organization around the team. And I promise you, he's insisting that they are there in the locker room and being involved in these victories, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you take that? You know, when you watch these videos, you seeing the same things I am, or what's your general thoughts on this? Maybe go to James first, and then
go to James first.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, and that's one thing I definitely noticed too. And then even Brandon Staley even pointed out the Spanoses too, with even giving game balls to them too. And so he even got them to involved. Exactly. The owners even getting involved and getting game balls for being a part of the team or being involved with this team.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a pretty cool thing to be able to see. I mean, and obviously it wasn't like, you know, it was John Spanos that I think he ended up giving a game ball to, but he was having like a baby or whatnot. But the thing is, though, he was giving game balls to them that aren't like necessarily a player on the team, but they're still getting them involved as a part of the team. And I think that's a really good thing to be able to see that Brandon Staley has done that. And I think he's done a great job with trying to build a new culture of this team. I mean, we all know we've had kind of a tumultuous past with some of our ownerships and head coaches and GMs and such too, where they seem to have a little contentious of a situation and whatnot. But I think Brandon Staley was hired in here to make a better culture and a thriving culture here. And so I think so far so good. I think these locker room speeches are awesome to be able to see the whole team get excited and come together as a unit, you know, bottom line, be all on the same page. I think that's one thing that I think that he's emphasizing. We're all in this as one.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you know, looking at it from another perspective too, is that like, I feel like this Spanos family is, I think now they are adapting a little bit different of an attitude towards the team. Is that like, whereas, you know, like the Cowboys, that's, in a lot of ways, he's very hands-on with everything. We've kind of talked about this before, but I feel like the Spanoses are not so hand-on, but they are now just getting more involved, and they're letting the head coach actually do his thing. And obviously, because Staley is insisting, or I really feel like that he is insisting. I agree with you that he's insisting that they come down to the field like for the fourth quarter, at least by the end of the fourth quarter. And then to go out there and meet the players and, you know, kind of mingle a little bit and then go to the locker room. Because like, I feel like, he always talks about, you know, that they have a team. Now they need to make a championship, and that championship team is from the top all the way down to the bottom. So like all the way down to the people that actually are working in the stadium probably are part of the Chargers team, you know, like at least that's the thing that I feel like Staley's, the environment that he's starting to build. And I really love to see that, you know, because for a lot of times I've always felt like the Spanos family just didn't care, you know, like I'm just like,
I felt that a lot too.
Yeah. And I'm just like, they're not spending money on players to get them or whatever. But they're now they're starting to, I feel like hopefully they're getting the energy from the players, and obviously we're feeling it as fans about Staley, because his energy is infectious, like right now, like I don't feel like Staley can do any wrong. Like, I mean, sure, we can, complain about some play calls here and there or whatever, but like I have full faith in Staley that he will take us to the championship. Yeah, and I don't know how many did he sign a contract? Was it like 5 years or something, or?
Yeah, I think it's something like that, 4-year, 5-year contract. I think it's 4 years.
Right.
Actually, I don't even really know, because I've looked around at that too, and it seems like I haven't found like a true number yet. So I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, and to your point, James, you're talking about AJ Smith and Marty Schottenheimer era, right? And at the end of the day, they never spoke to each other. They hated each other. And if you recall, Schottenheimer won 12 games, or was it 14 games one year? And then
14 games. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's the example of poor leadership, or at least definitely poor communication from a GM and a head coach.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's really cool about Brandon Staley too is that he is definitely helping Telesco even be a better general manager as well too. If you think about the draft, Telesco is very good at finding good undrafted free agents, but I know Brandon Staley will help with that as well too. So having and being more involved as a team, as an organization, they're just going to get better and better moving forward, right? So that's exciting to me as well. And again, I love the fact that the Spanoses are involved. If you recall the offseason, the whole story about the Spanoses, how they were broke and Jeff Bezos was looking to buy the Chargers.
Yeah.
I mean, how hilarious was that whole story?
I mean, I think that was just more of a rumor, though. I don't think Jeff Bezos was
It was definitely a rumor, but it was those things where, you sit back and, Spanoses are broke. They have no money. And, I think it was his sister that was saying something like, we got to get rid of the team. You got to dump them.
Yeah, because she was trying to like sue, Dean, because he's in like a ridiculous amount of debt and stuff like that, But
very interesting.
Yeah. But that's just it. That's just it, though. I mean, that's just kind of how money works, though. Like, I mean, that's what the Omega Rich always do. It's like they borrow against what their assets and to make more assets and stuff. So yeah.
Well, the thing that's so interesting to me is, I mean, the Spanos' family basically have what basically AG Spanos company as like one of their businesses, but then which is basically a real estate developer, and then basically the Chargers as their two base companies. I mean, the Chargers are multi-billion-dollar, organization. I don't know why you would not want to be involved with that and have hands-on to make it a more successful business.
Yeah.
And I remember a while back talking about with Alex Spanos was involved with like the whole ownership of the team and being very involved with the team and such. A lot of the players would talk about that he was like very, very good as an owner, and he was really, really like involved with the team. And then obviously when he started falling away after he's getting older and older and older, basically Dean Spanos got involved, and it just seemed like Dean didn't have that same idea as wanting to be involved in the team. And so it's kind of a tough situation to see, but I think if Brandon Staley's the one that's really trying to get them to say, hey, look, man, we need you to be here as an owner. You need to be involved with our team. You're a part of this team. Like, I think that's a great thing to be able to kind of lead him to be able to be a part of this whole thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And maybe it was even part of the conversation that he had with AJ Smith.
Yeah.
And Marty Schottenheimer, because you don't know what happens behind closed doors with these other coaches.
No, definitely not.
And hey, well, don't come in the locker room or don't have this conversation. And look, maybe obviously the winds are changing there with the Chargers and the ownership, which I think is fantastic, right? Because people want to be involved. Human beings want to be involved, especially the owner of the team, right? You got your money in the pot. Going out there paying players, getting involved is very important.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely, man. It's definitely very important, and I think that's a good thing. It was interesting talking about. I can't remember who it was, and I think it might have been the Pat McAfee show was talking about the owner of the Bengals, and how he basically is not the most spendy of an owner by any means, and he's kind of been just a very much a cheapskate and not necessarily the best of owner or anything like that. Sure. But it's like whatever they've done now, I mean, they just got lucky with Joe Burrow and hitting the lottery basically to get a quarterback such as him.
Sure.
And they don't even have an indoor practice facility, and they've been practicing outdoors this whole entire time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible to see.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the same side, sometimes you take the bull by the horns and you just go out there and make it happen. And I really do hope that I think that Brandon Staley is kind of taking the bull by the horns to really guide this whole thing and to really get this team going in the right direction. And I think these post-game speeches, they always get me excited to be able to see all the players really excited about that, like after a victory. And just hearing about the game balls that they're giving out to people, which I think that's a cool tradition to be able to have that out there. And
I like that.
The one thing that I think Brandon Staley kind of emphasized in a lot of some of the earlier games is like, you know what, is this kind of what you guys expected, or basically did you expect anything else but this to happen? Basically go out and get that win? No, this is what we expected. And that's kind of, I think it's kind of like pushing that mentality of this is what we're supposed to do, is go out there and get the win. I don't think that we should be thinking anything less. I think we should be going with that winning mindset going into every game, that just because the media says, the Chargers are going to lose this game or whatever. But I think the thing is, though, pushing into the players to let them know, nope, this is what we expected as a team to go out and make that win. I don't care what the media says about us. Let's prove them all wrong. And I think that's kind of the mentality I think that Brandon Staley's trying to emphasize with the team.
Yeah, and make no mistake that every team in the NFL is good, right? They're not bad teams.
No.
I mean, every team is good. And so, you know, even if their record doesn't show that they're a good team, they can still beat any team. I mean, a great example, look at the Colts. They lost to the Jaguars last. I mean, they were the fifth seed in the AFC.
Yeah, they got bumped out of the playoffs by the Jags. You know,
by the Jags, right?
Playing spoilers, you know.
Exactly. So, and that's why I think you need a leader like a Brandon Staley to really get the team hyped up and ready to go. And you know, it's clear that he is getting that team where they need to be successful and have the championship mindset. So, I think to wrap up, you know, the future's bright. You know, watch these videos, guys. Definitely subscribe. And you know, Bull Bros are here for you.
That's right.
Here you go, Bull Bros, baby.
Bull Bros, we out.